So today we're going to study 19. We're just finishing the 18 Amud Bed, 18b, at the very close to the end of that Amud. Tashma davu ad Shmuel havu kamap kedei gabei zuzad yatmei. So here is another proof. We want to discuss the relationship between the dead and the living. So we bring a proof from a following incident that the father of Shmuel, there's several ideas, either that he himself was a giant Torah scholar, his name is Abba, or the people recognize him because of his great son Shmuel. Shmuel was one of the great rabbis that Gadol Meraban Shmo, that you don't have his name because he by himself carried a great name. So, because he was such a trustworthy person, the father of Shmuel, so people gave him money that belongs to orphans, which means they need a person that is trustworthy to give all this money that basically is supposed to distribute to poor people, poor orphans, and then he passed away. So the Gemarah said, Kinach nafshei lo ava Shmuel gabei. So people deposit the money of orphan with Shmuel's father for safekeeping, and when he died, Shmuel was not with him and did not learn from him the location of the money. So here is a serious problem, because why? Havu kakavu lei barachil zuze deyatmei. Since he did not return it, now people call Shmuel the great Torah scholar. They start talking behind his back, or people are talking about him and they call him son of him who consumes the money of orphans. So Azal abatrei lachatzar mavet. So Shmuel went after his father to the cemetery. So here what we try to prove, we try to prove that there is some type of dialogue between the living and the dead, because he's not talking to the cemetery people to find the spot. He's talking to the dead in that sense, and we said it so many times that we just go by the pshat. It's way above our understanding the mystical meaning of the text. So we try just to go in a simple understanding. So Shmuel is in a great distress. People start talking, and it's money of the orphans. So he tried to find his father, and again, it means that he's talking to those who's no longer among the living in a cemetery. Again, Amar leu ba'ina Abba, amru lei Abba tu va'ika'acha. He said to them, to the dead people, I'm looking for my father. What is his name? They asked. He says his name is Abba. So, we have here many Abba. So he said, Ba'inan Abba bar Abba. Amru le Abba bar Abba, nametu va'ikacha. He says, okay, there's plenty of Abba here. So he says, I need Abba bar Abba. That's the name. He says, Abba bar Abba, there are many here. Amar le Ba'inan Abba bar Abba avu ad Shmuel. I'm looking for a fellow named Abba bar Abba that is not only named Abba bar Abba, but is also Abba, the father of Shmuel, which means me. Heicha, where is he? Because now you're talking about unique name, right? So they said to him, Salik lemetivta direkia. He has ascended to the heaven level. Rekia is very Kabbalistic definition. It's like a very high level of madrigot, the high level of heaven. So again, we try just to understand the meaning in a simple way. There are some deceased that, in a sense, in our simple understanding, it's still in a cemetery, and there are others who already went high above. So meanwhile, while they have these discussions, he noticed the Levi was one of the great Torah scholars. He saw that the Sit Levi was a friend of Shmuel, and he was sitting outside of Circle of Dead. So here, let's see a little bit the Rashi. Rashi said that Shmuel Levi Chavero שהיה יושב חוץ לישיבה של שאר המתים. Which means all the other dead, it's like, again, in a simple way, they are in a circle. And all of a sudden, they notice that, he noticed that Levi, he is not in that circle. In other words, the dead people are sitting around, again, in our simple language. Okay, and this great Torah scholar Levi, he's out of the group. So, Amar le Amaya Yatvat Abarai. He is now talking to whom? To Levi. Levi is his friend that is no longer among the living. And he said, why are you sitting outside of the circle of other dead spirits? Mai tamalo salakt. Why you don't go up to the place that, for example, my father. Amar Levi respond to him, the Amri le ki kolani shnei de lo salik lemtivta de Rabbi Afes, v'achalshin ta ledate lo ma'alinan lach lemtivta de rekia hu. So Rav Nissim Gaon explained in Gemarah in Ketubot, he said that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, he is one of the people that before his passing, he gave like appointed job for certain people. So he said, for example, Shimon Bni, my son Shimon Chacham, who will be Chacham in the Sephardic world, is one of the giant Torah scholars. Elazar, my other son, will be Nasi, will be the head. And then he said, Rabbi Hanina will be the Rosh Yeshiva. The Rabbi Hanina will be the head of the Rabbinical Academy. Now, Rabbi Hanina didn't feel so comfortable. There's a few versions, but the key point was it was a great rabbi by the name of Rabbi Afas, that he was a giant scholar and he was appointed to be the head of yeshiva. So one of the students was very angry. Why he was angry? Since Rabbi Yehuda Nasi announced that Rabbi Hanina will be the head of the yeshiva, even he's a younger age, right? So he wanted him to do it. So what did he do? He was a very Kana'i, he was very zealous for Rabbi Hanina. So he went and he studied outside. There are a few versions. Either he studied outside with Rabbi Hanina or he studied outside by himself, outside of that room. But anyway, Rav Afas felt bad in a sense that this Torah giant is sitting outside while I'm teaching the class. You know, he studied outside of the class. So now you get what is the discussion. Levi said to him, I am outside of the circle because when I went to heaven in our language, they told me, well, Rabbi Afas, you make him so, frustrated because you're sitting outside of Beit HaMidrash, now you're outside. So, thereby cause him distress. Right? The Gemarah in Ketubot, 103b, they discuss the details. Anyway, so therefore, because of that, lo ma'alinan le'lemetiv tederikia, will not admit you to heavenly academy. Okay? So, while they have all this discussion, the father of Shmuel appeared to him. So Shmuel noticed that his father is smiling and crying at the same time. In a simple language, you call it bittersweet, right? It's a combination of the two opposites. So Amar le mata ma kabachit. He said to his dad, "Why are you crying?" Amar le de la agal ka'atit, which means his father already heard that his son Shmuel will die soon. So that's the reason that that he cried. Uman ta'ama achicht. So why you smile? He says, "Dechashivat be'ai al matuva," which means that that in the world of truth you are important. So just for a second, let's see what Rashi said. So he said, "Dela'egel atid b'merat ikaber," which means that he predicted that he's going to die soon. Okay, and soon you see the Tosefta what he had to say. But let's just go a little bit further. And he said, "Amarle," so he said to his father, "I chashivna ne'ailuha leLevi." So he said to his father, if you tell me that in the world of truth, the world above, I am so recognized, so important, okay, here's my request. I want Levi to be admitted, to accept it. Ve'ailu ale Levi, and because of that, they allow Levi to get in. Amarle, so now they have a discussion. Amarle, Shmuel said to his father, Zuza deyat meheicha. Where is the money? Where is the money of the orphan? Amarle, zil shaklinhu be'amta dereichaya. Ila'e vetata'e didan. Umitz'e deyatme. He said, go and set inside the bedstone of the meal, which means he gave him the exact location, and he said, you see three different locations of the money. You see the top, you see the bottom, and you see the middle. So he told him, look, the top and the bottom, it's ours, it's our family money. The middle is the money that belongs to those orphans. Okay? Amar le maita ma'avid achi. So he said, why you did it? Shmuel asked his father, why you did it in such a way, you hide it, and you put our money at the top and the bottom? He says, Amar le I ganave mignevu mididan. I achla ar'a achla mididan. He said, if the thieves will come and they discover that place, so guess what? Let them take the money that belongs to us and not the money of the orphan. Because it's a three set of boxes, right? And if, because it was close to the bottom, if the earth will eat it, you know, all kind of small creatures in the earth that eat even the papers, you know, money or other things, so let them again eat ours and not eat the money that belongs to the orphans. So what's the conclusion of all this story? The proof is, Alma de Yade, which means that the dead knows what's going on in this world. They're aware, they're familiar of what's happening. The father of Shmuel, that's the whole purpose of telling us this story. The father of Shmuel, it's example that knows what's happened. So they said no. The Gemarah rejected and said, Dilma shane Shmuel kevan dekad dechashiv kad beumachazei panu makom. So they said because Shmuel was such a highly recognized Torah scholar and giant and so advanced, so they said in heaven, make a room for him. Here is Rashi and the Tosefta. Rashi said that he was well recognized and it's already pre-advanced and noticed. Tosefta said, beautiful Tosefta, he said, מדקאמר לעגל כעתיד ולא מצא לשינוי כדאל, דומה קדים, ואמר לו דהיינו דווקא לאלתר, אבל כל כך לא ידע מקדים, שהוא עצמו אינו יודע. So according to the Tosefta, this way he knew that Shmuel will very soon will die, but the whole specific he doesn't know, he just know that he is coming. So again, they try to tell us that it's not a full proof for that. But again, those incidences we interpreted so far just in the literal sense, and as we said in the last two sessions, that those incidences have Maharal and have Zohar and have Rekanati and Reb Chaim Vital and so much in Kabbalistic writings about this. Like the Ritva said that he's in a state of dream, and the Maharsha said that it's a state of mind. It's all kind of understanding. So we just go so far with the Pshat. So we learned earlier that the machloket about the tzitzit, that the dragging the cemetery. Remember? So they said, V'af Rabbi Yonatan Hadarbe. Now we go back to the whole idea that even Rabbi Yochanan himself retracted his earlier idea of this. Damar Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachman imar Rabbi Yonatan, Minayin lemetim shemesaprim ze im ze. How do you know that the dead converse with each other? Shenemar, ויאמר השם אליו, זאת הארץ אשר נשבעתי לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב. That Hashem said to him, to whom? To Avraham Avinu. Hashem said to Abraham, this is the land that I gave, I swore to Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. And then they use the word Leimor. When you have the Torah Leimor, like Vaidaber Hashem and Moshe Leimor, Leimor meaning Hashem talked to Moshe Rabbeinu and he asked him to convey the message to others. So here, what is Leimor? Hashem, this is the land that I swore to Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, Leimor. Hashem here speaking to Moshe Rabbeinu before he is passing. So what does that mean, Leimor? Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu leMoshe, God said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Lech emor lahem, לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב, שבועה שנשבעתי לכם כבר קיימתי על לבניכם. It's like God said to Moshe Rabbeinu. So the Maharsha explained that the big question is, Yoshua is the one who conquered, who have this big war and conquered the land. So what does that mean? That he said, Maharsha explained that it was several places that was already occupied at the time of Moshe Rabbeinu before Yoshua physically went with the whole nation. So they want to show, which called in Hebrew hakarat hatov, they want to show appreciation for good. So therefore, Hashem wants to show the appreciation to Moshe Rabbeinu. So therefore, he tell him he was the leader 40 years in the desert, and he began all the process of entering the land. So therefore, he told him, go and tell Abraham, Yitzchak and Yaakov that I fulfill. So in that sense, it's like a discussion among those souls who are no longer among the living. But if you assume that the dead did not know anything of the affair of the world, and Rabbi Yonatan basically think that Ki Amalu Mai Have. So what's the reason that Moshe Rabbeinu needs to tell them? So as we said earlier, the whole purpose of that is to show appreciation to Moshe Rabbeinu, because he was the one who who did so much good. So they want to show appreciation. So what we derive from that the dead are aware of the event going on of this world. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. So now, since we talk about all these issues with the dead, so Rabbi Yitzchak said, "Kol ha-mesaper acharei hamet, כאילו mesaper acharei ha'even." Rabbi Yitzchak called that if someone talk or disparaged a dead person, it's like he talk with a stone, which means that there's no effect on a dead person. So it's like the two explanations. Either you say that the dead is no awareness, or you say that the dead are aware but don't care. They're no longer among the living, don't care. So the Eini, so the Gemarah said, is this really true? ואמר רב פאפא, אחד אשתה אמיתא בתרי למר שמואל, ונפל קליה מתללה, ובזה דארנקה דמוחי. It was a situation that someone talked about Mar Shmuel, and as a result, a large, heavy pole fell from the roof, and basically destroyed the brain of that person. It has, like, in our language, either a brain event or stroke, or right. So they said it's different here. Shanet suva mederabanan. This is different when you talk about Torah scholars. The kudsha brichu tava beikare. That it's not the dead. It's like Hashem, God, is basically required their honor, demand the retribution for the insult of their honor. So I'm not going there, but the Chafetz Chaim speaks a lot about the Ma'amad Ametim, what exactly, it's a machloket, what exactly the level of afterlife, what happened with the dead. So we're not going there, but I just want to finish this session with several points, several halachot, because it's important. First, about, we mentioned Levi and Rav Afas. So the whole idea of Levi and Rav Afas It's a discussion in different Gemarah, but we can take it in two different ways. We can take it in a way that it's Levi and Rav Afas. It's a real event in our simple way that happens. There are those who go much deeper. But in the sense of understanding, I think it's very much connected to the Torah portion. In this Torah portion of Shoftim, the Torah gives us 41 mitzvot. And 5 out of them, of the mitzvot, it's the mitzvot relate to not communicate with the psychic, with the in our language tarot reader, the science, and all these. And one of them is not talking to the dead. It's prohibition in the Torah. Rabbeinu Moshe ben Nachman, Ramban, he considered that as one of the mitzvot. And when the Rambam, in the book of the commandment, the book of mitzvot, did not list it, Ramban, who lived after him, commented and he said, the great teacher, the Rambam, forget to mention that mitzvah. Which means, according to Ramban, it's one of the mitzvot in the Torah. That Tamim tiyeh im Hashem Elokecha, you should be wholehearted with your Lord, your God. And Rashi explained there, Hithalech ito bitmimut, that a person should go in a very trustworthy way with God. Ve'al tachkor achar ha'atidot, you should not search the future, what's going to happen. And always you should be perfect in your heart with Hashem. So it's a strong prohibition against doing all these things. The Zohar tells us in Parashat Bereshit that when the world created, when the time of Adam, the first man, it was a motion that is called kishuf, all kind of different, in our language you call it magic or black magic or all kind of things like that, that was created, but we are forbidden to have anything to do with this. Furthermore, the many books, I give you an example, the Malbim said, the Ibn Ezra said in the Parsha, but also the Malbim said that when he quoted the Ramban that said in Parashat Lech Lecha in Bereshit, Hashem told Abraham, Hithalech lefanai veheye tamim. Hashem said to Abraham, he discovered out of all these idol worshippers, he discovered Hashem. So God told him, you should walk before me and be wholehearted. So Ramban considering that as a separate mitzvah to be full-hearted with God. So the Malbim said it means that even the world or people or all kind of sources, you read something in the Washington Post or you hear something from people or whatever it is, they give you all kind of predictions. You should always know that if you full-heartedly trust Hashem, God can turn around either way. Can turn a bad mazal, a bad, whatever you call it, luck, to good, and vice versa. God is above everything you see in our world. And therefore, it's all depend on you, strong connectedness to God. I give you another example, the Baal HaTurim, Rabbi Yaakov Baal HaTurim, he explained something fascinating in the Parsha. He said that there are certain letters in the Torah that have a big letter. If you look at the end of Shema, the word Echad, the Dalet is written in a very large letter. So we don't see it now in our Sifrei Torah, but the Baal HaTurim said that in original Sifrei Torah, the word Tamim, Taf, was a large Taf. What is a large Taf? So Baal HaTurim hold that that's expression, that that's the whole essence of Torah. Tamim tiyeh, that you should be full-hearted. Which means all this idea of talking to the dead, we're reading here in the Talmud stories, but we should be aware that that's a very strong prohibition against involving with any form of talking to the dead. And it's part of trust and faith in God. If a person have any form of communication or with the dead, it's a problem. And any form of leading future to those communication, it's an issue of essence of the Torah. According to Ramban, it's a violation of Torah. The whole idea of the Torah, they believe that the Torah, the written, the oral Torah, the belief that the whole Torah is from Hashem, is part of that is the belief that all kind of sources, you see all these tarot readers and psychics and they're doing all kind of things, it's a violation of the Torah. The Torah, the Tamim, if you look at the Torah, the beginning and the end, take for example the Mishnah. The beginning Mem it's with Mem. The end of Mishnayot is also Mem. Mem to Mem. It's all complete, it's all in one sense, one essence of the Torah. The same as the Talmud. It starts with Taf and the end with Taf. The end of the Talmud. So it again, the whole idea, excuse me, the Torah is the Tmimut, that we don't involve with this. So whenever you read these stories, you should not take it in a wrong way. Another important thing is, we said here that that something came from heaven, or something came from the roof and broke the brain of that baby. So his skull, you use the word skull, arnaka de mochei. Arnaka de mochei. So arnaka is a Greek word, and basically it meaning that is a sheepskin, or it's the other items that they created. But again, it's expression that like God is above everything else. It's not that you tell me that the dead took revenge, and because they talk about the dead pay you back by taking revenge, and the dead put the forces that came from the top of the roof and broke the skull of that individual that talk against the skull. That's not the way we look at it. We look because Hashem, because the Almighty is Memale kol almin v'sovev kol almin, which means God is internal the world, living God, and external world. God took the retribution in honor of the Torah scholar, but it's not that the dead is paying back and doing any type of revenge. That's not what we said. So in wrapping up, it's a very important act of faith, and it's part of the mitzvot in this parasha. The whole idea that we read about it, we learn a lot of ideas of trust in God and faith in God, but by the same token we learn the important mitzvah of be wholehearted with God, which means not to search over future and to be in a full faith in God. Believe that teshuvah, tefillah, tzedakah, that return to God, repentance, prayer, and act of charity change any decree.